We have all been looking forward to the New York appeal, a process that will eventually determine the fate of the R&B king in terms of whether he stays in prison for 30 years, or whether his freedom is reinstated to return to us and to what he knows best, which is singing and writing beautiful songs. It's no longer news to anyone's ear that R. Kelly was prejudiced by the trial courts, which registered excesses when trying him, and also went ahead to issue a 30-year sentence, which for a 56-year-old is an indirect life sentence. While the Chicago judge Harry Leinenweber was quick to notice the injustice and made a few mitigations here and there, when he chose that the 20-year sentence, which is also an overcharge, be served concurrently with the New York 30 years, and also remembering to add an opportunity for self-redemption by allowing him a possibility for probation after 5 years of incarceration, his New York counterpart Judge Ann Donnelly did not really care that R. Kelly was 55 when she issued her exorbitant sentence. Much as the New York court proceeded to issue the 30-year sentence, the circumstances within which this was done remain highly questionable. Setting aside the fact that there was never sufficient evidence provided by government that R. Kelly committed the charged crimes, and that's the RICO, Mann Act and forced labor violations, the same government working together with the Bureau of Prisons broke the law when they teamed up to leak R. Kelly's prison communications to bloggers in the public realm, as a strategy to win over defense witnesses to the government side, and an act that violated R. Kelly's attorney-client privacy rights. It is these legal errors which feature prejudice and a lack of evidence that makes the New York appeal relevant, and a great opportunity for R. Kelly to finally receive the justice he deserves. Attorney Jennifer Bonjean a while ago on May 5, 2023 filed a motion seeking an extension to the date of filing appellant's opening briefs. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit has finally granted this motion and fixed the date for the appellant and appellee briefings as follows. The brief and required short appendix of the appellant will be due on the 3rd of July 2023, and by the 2nd of August, the appellee will follow with their opening briefs. The appellant will then return with a response by August 2023. Meaning the entire process will run through the 2 months of July and August. We will make sure to keep you informed and up to date throughout the appeal process. So make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to allow all notifications such that you don't miss out on our timely updates. In the past days, we have been analyzing Jennifer Bonjean's opening brief submission, and for the record, she outlined her points as clearly as possible in a way even an ordinary person can understand. The trial court is acting outside the boundaries of the U.S. law to suggest R. Kelly is guilty for RICO violations without proving an enterprise. And the Mann Act violation charges in relation to government witness Jane also failed to make sense when the purpose of travel was not necessarily to engage in whatever misdemeanors the government made mention of. Remember, the Mann Act was passed not to deal with local state crimes, but to prevent renowned perpetual criminals from crossing over to federal states with different laws in hope to commit crime with no real penalty. The fact that California, which was Jane's destination, also punishes the misdemeanors in question shows completely no prior motivation by defendant to cross over for the purpose of engaging in crime. This disqualifies the possibility of intent, and therefore the Mann Act charges do not apply. Bonjean's appeal submission also leaves one to wonder whether government was right to compare sexual relations between two people in a relationship with the act of forced labor. Government's claims that when Faith Rogers, who had been sexually involved with R. Kelly not once, not twice but multiple times this particular day, did it while a gun was lying on the table in the living room, the act of making love in an oral orientation quickly became forced labor, even when Kelly showed no intention of using the gun to make any sort of demands. They also suggest that the single oral encounter Geronda Pace made mention of during the trial was forced, only because the two had previously in a different room and setting disagreed on a few things. What the government is trying to suggest here is that people in a sexual relationship should never argue or disagree about anything, as this could quickly categorize any sexual encounters that follow to be acts of forced labor. For the men out there, therefore, the day you have a disagreement with your wife, fiancé or girlfriend, make sure to sleep in separate rooms, as she could get you arrested and indicted for forced labor. Very ironic. A close look at the points raised by attorney Jennifer Bonjean in her appeal submission will leave you wondering why the R&B king is still languishing in prison for no real crimes committed. They will make you realize that he was only framed for the world to think that he is a criminal. The government found that they had no real charges to place against him and decided to redefine the RICO Act, but in the process, this only served to expose the injustice and prejudice against R. Kelly. Now that the appeal date is fixed, we await to see how the appeal judges deal with these acts of prejudice to put the trial courts in check. Ruby Mitchell says, Attorney Jennifer Bonjean has put up a good fight for her client and the government ought to be reminded she is no fool. She's definitely not going to let anything get by her, and she's going to prove every allegation against her was false one by one. All the evil souls trying to take down R. Kelly need to get ready for what's coming is worse than a tsunami. R. Kelly is innocent and they know that, but the New York court sadly chose to side with the fortunists who only changed their mind about Kelly when the money ran out. According to Harold Phillips, in my opinion, the New York judge rushed this case and made a very bad judgment which prejudiced R. Kelly. Whether it was government pressure that saw the court succumb is hard to tell, but their judgment was a display of total incompetence. But again, when it came to the sentencing, federal judge Ann Donnelly still sentimentally issued a whole 30 years with no considerations that Kelly was 55 years old. Even when the government had asked for 25 years, she personally donated another 5 years to them, and she therefore cannot blame this on government pressure. R. Kelly should sue all the people who attempted to fail this case by acting prejudicial to him. Our prayer now is that the appeal court is able to look beyond the surface, such that they flush out all tendencies of corruption in the entire system. According to Sandra Crawford, it is a shame that an innocent man like R. Kelly has to sit in a cell all this time while these people enjoy telling more and more lies. Considering the lies are now coming out with accusers speaking against each other, what more proof do the courts need to return R. Kelly his belongings and let him go? The justice system is wasting taxpayers' money on him, yet the real criminals are out there loitering the streets and completely free. It's a shame on our country. Thank you for watching today's video, a production of LFN Media, giving you another perspective of issues at hand. We make it our business to keep you updated with the truth amidst the cloud of lies the media wants you to believe. It is therefore important to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon and allow all notifications so that you don't miss out whenever we publish a new video.